Hello everyone and welcome to State of the Realm, we'll talk about how often it is at the start of the show podcast. This week we're going to be talking about a topic we've been putting off for a few weeks now, content longevity and the content cycle currently. Plus, I think it's unavoidable we talk about some recent news regarding Final Fantasy in general on the show, but we'll save that for the show itself. I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Happy. Of course, joining me as he does every week when I have a show for a week, it's Sly, who's looking at me like... He's like, hi. About time, Happy. I'd like to remind everyone, Sly's officially been on more State of the Realms than me, so he technically has seniority here. I'd just like to point that out.
I'm just here. I just show up. That's what happens.
Hey, me too. High five
every week. High five.
But it's not just any State of the Realm, Sly. It's a Stake of the Realm because we're bringing back, of course, longtime co-host who put on a tie, I guess, right? But you weren't wearing that when I looked.
Fresh, dressed,
I swear he just put on
ready
that
to
tie.
Party.
He just put on that tie literally while I was looking down at my keyboard during the intro, and I think he just ate cake.
No, that is steak.
Oh, is it steak? I couldn't tell. I didn't see it over his mouth.
It's actual steak.
He brought steak to steak. Oh, it is. Yeah. Oh, that's why the cat won't leave you alone. Yeah, see, you've made a mistake.
Well, we have Mr.
And I had
Byrne
to put
here.
the tie on because I never know how Sly's going to show up, and I never want to be underdressed.
I'm here.
Sometimes that dude comes straight from work in the sharpest three-piece suits I've ever seen.
Man, it's quarantine, dude, man. I ain't putting on a shirt and tie for nobody.
Dude, my three-piece suit is a t-shirt, shorts, and socks. That's it. That's my three-piece suit.
I bring a tie and steak. I'm classing this joint up.
Yeah, that's a four-piece suit, as far as I'm concerned. How you doing, Byrne? Well, you're doing good because you have steak.
This freaking delicious.
Yeah. He didn't eat, like, almost any of that before. Like, he had, like, one bite before the show started, and then when the show started, he's like, it's time.
Mm-hmm.
It is time.
My dinner was 100% a prop tonight.
I just have Bojangles, so yeah. Yeah,
I had an aloe
vera. But I do have to say, Haps, how are you, Big Daddy?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I forgot about it, but I forgot about that. I'm doing all right. Today is so unfortunately I haven't done a show in a few weeks just because I've been dealing with some personal stuff, and so working on the show off of stream hours has not been much in my forte. And this whole week I felt great, but. Right. I had one of those nights where I slept really well, and thus I feel like complete shit the next day because my body's like, no, come on, just do that longer. And that's today.
You feel hungover.
Yeah.
The worst thing you could have done was sleep.
Yeah, the worst thing I could have done was sleep well because now my body hates me for it. So that's how I'm doing today. But other than that, I can't complain. It's just good to be back with the boys.
It's always good to be here.
Yes.
Now I'm choking.
For our audio-only listeners who barely caught that, he said, I'm choking, and then went and resolved the problem.
Yeah, resolve the problem. No, it's always good to be back, man. It's good to see both of you. Sly, how are you, my friend? I can take this off because you got the t-shirt on, so we're good. I don't have to worry about that.
Oh, man, you were funky, fresh, dressed, and impressed, ready to party, man.
Well, now he looks more ready to party. The top buttons, the top two buttons going is really the ready to party look as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Well, before we get into the topic for this show, it's been a while since we've done one, so we should probably do a sponsor read here at the start. Steel Series, whether frequent or infrequent the show may be, are still sponsors for this show and my channel in general. We do free monthly giveaways whenever the show is on enough times in a month, but it just means that we got to wait for a winner to be drawn. And I did go ahead and draw a winner ahead of this show. It is Totally Skellabone on Twitch, so I'll be messaging them over. I'll be sending them an email. You won the prize that we give away every month, which is Steel Series stuff. Under every YouTube video, every time, just enter the giveaway. It's free stuff. It's a sponsor that gives free stuff. Or you can buy stuff and I get money off of it. So either way, it's a win as far as I'm concerned. There's a 12% discount code. Don't forget it. We also have our patrons whose names are definitely not up to date because I haven't done this show in 3 weeks, even though it might be because I've been updating the documents. So they might actually be up to date. But we'll get to them later in the show. I'll have an elongated thank you for them. So with that, gentlemen, this is a show, Byrne. I'm gonna be honest with you about something. You are not originally the person I was gonna ask for this, but only because I was so lazy for 3 weeks that I saw you and I was like, he is actually the perfect guy, because I saw you make an announcement about something that I hope you'll shout out later, and I was like, you know what? I want him. I've been lazy for the last 3 weeks because I've been dealing with some stuff, but I know if I have Byrne on the show as a guest, it will invigorate me.
He was like, that dude tweeted, holy shit, he is still alive. Let's get him on the show.
It do be like that sometimes, though. It do be like that sometimes.
I totally forgot that dude existed.
No, it's more like, he's actually like...
the trading card game today, right?
What?
We're talking about the trading card game. That's why you're having me on.
Don't they have an Emmett Salk card in the recent set?
It's coming out.
Oh, it's coming out
in the set that drops beginning of November here.
There you go. Somebody linked it in my Discord.
Opus 12.
Opus 12 with the Emmett Salk card.
Yeah, I can't believe it already. Oh, I do have something to show you.
He doesn't want us. Oh, I thought it was going to be the cat for a second.
It's not the cat. It's not the cat. Like, look at this. Look at this. Get that right up there.
There you go. That's a holographic Tifa, which is not a sentence I would have thought of in my youth.
Holographic, full art Tifa.
Would that be considered a foil because it's the whole card?
Yeah. Yeah, it's foil full art.
Yeah.
And we got there the Y'shtola.
There you go.
A girl. Little Zidane. These are promo cards. They're like full arts. But man, if you aren't playing this game, what the hell's wrong with you? There's like 15 bajillion people in chat right now that are going, Final Fantasy has a trading card game?
I like chat saying best girls when the third one you showed was
best girl. Go buy this. If you've never played, go buy this. It's like $30, $25, $30. Cloud v Sephiroth, dual starter, Hap and Sly. You could be playing tonight, $25, $30. Really.
Do you have an affiliate link?
I wish.
Sounds like you need an Amazon affiliate link for card games.
I need that, or Square. I mean, they could just fucking hire me, I guess.
I don't know if that means free cards or not.
One of the two. But yeah, these are for these came out with the remake, so these are like the newest starter dual sets. Go get those. And then all the other stuff that you could imagine
like, he's
with
not done. There's no way.
I'm not done. Like, I get the word out, brother. And I appreciate you giving me a couple minutes to do this. If you play card games, yeah, you got tons of just the stuff you would expect, right? Sleeves. There's some nice sleeves. Here's some art sleeves there for you with some cloud on it. So all that usual stuff. Pre-release kits. Yeah, we got them. You collector's Tifa tins with promos in them from all over the world and 10 packs. Yeah, I mean, we got them. And notice all of mine is still sealed.
I noticed.
Hand open those. I bought like 6. Opened some of them. Then we left some sealed.
He said
Look back there. You see
he bought 6.
Shut up. Every booster set, I buy like 6 to 7 boxes. So, because we got before we're allowed to play. Remember, I have to get 1 regular of every card and 1 foil of every card straight from pack to binder. Then we're allowed to build the decks, and there's like 4 or 5 players in my house. So, no official online support yet, but you crazy cats that Octagon and
he said like 6, so it could have been 7.
Yeah, it could have been.
Could have been 5 also.
No, this is probably more like 7.
Yeah, take the over.
Yeah, I mean, come on, check out the game. There's no digital support for it yet, official, but Untap, Octagon, there's a great new tabletop simulator community project going on there too. So, and it's really easy to play. Like, if you've ever played Magic the Gathering, you're 15 minutes away from learning Final Fantasy. And the cards are tremendous. The game's a lot of fun. Just do it. Do it.
And he's going to be streaming some of that. You said he's doing that tomorrow? You're not streaming it? You're just doing whatever?
Not tomorrow, but we do stream it from the new channel occasionally. Yeah, we in between games and shows and stuff like that. There will be tabletop games, including FFTCG. We'll talk more about where you can see that later.
Yes. I knew if I didn't let him get it out now, it was going to come up in the middle of the show. It was unavoidable. Well, not at the end of the show, in the middle of the show. So I'm glad that I did that now. And he took an extra bite of steak. It's really been your show for the last.
It was the last bite of steak. So
oh, that's the most disappointing bite. It's always the most disappointing bite. Okay, well, there is a show on Final Fantasy. No, there's a show on Final Fantasy 14 as well.
Hold on. Who was before me? You said I was the second.
Well, I'm not gonna say. It's just I never asked the other people because it's been tough for me, and I was just like, you know what, I didn't want to bother them, but you all bother.
Fair enough.
Sly knows who the other guest.
I just want to know who the other guest was so I can tweet. Apparently, you're higher on the list.
Dude, you're busy, man. I know you're busy, but you're also always ready to go.
Oh yeah, I love doing this, guys. How great is your life when you can sit around and talk with people about video games, right? How bad can you look? 2020 sucks. Let's take an hour or 2 hours or whatever and just forget about it and talk about video games. I love that.
I'll take 7 hours a day at least, normally.
Yeah, you will.
Today becomes 8 or 9.
I got the MMO bomb stuff in the morning and then the other stuff in the evening, so I'm pretty much there now too, being on furlough from my day job.
Well, fortunately, we'll have plenty of time to talk about video games on this show.
Yeah.
Because even though it's a 14 show, I think it's unavoidable that some other topics come up, recent topics. Sly is...
Yep.
Yeah. Sly's we're going to be ready to talk about that.
Looking forward to a weekend of this, boys.
Oh, yeah, because that's exactly what it's going to be. So, Final Fantasy 14. Believe it or not, shows about that. Yeah. That's why the Ishtola card was there. That one card was the tie-in.
The Stake of the Realm.
Yeah, Stake of the Realm. Yeah, we've got all the classic beats.
It took 6 minutes for that to be tweeted when tweets went out saying I was going to be here this Friday.
Yeah, no, it really didn't take very long.
Stake of the Realm.
Stake of the Realm. That's what we got to have. It's been an interesting phase for Final Fantasy 14 because, like most things in our lives, it's been affected by COVID. It had the delayed patch coming into 5.3, and there's still question marks on if it's going to be delayed going into 5.4 based on the way that the post 5.3 schedule has kind of worked out at that point. Don't worry, I've had the string of steak in my teeth before. I know that feel. I can tell that's what it was.
I'm so classy.
Listen.
I'm a classy lady. I was like, let me get that out of there. Sorry.
No floss, no nothing. Just, are my nails long enough? Can I get
back? We made a stab at it. It was valiant. I'll give it that much.
Just one more bite, as far as I'm concerned. All right. And so 5.3 now has been out we're coming up on the 6th week. We're 5.5 weeks into the patch already, which is out of a normal 16-week patch cycle, which they've said they're back to normal. And I think with the extra 2 months thrown onto the end of it, no one's really talking about, COVID delaying the patch anymore much. It doesn't seem to be the topic. But now it's about how the game's content has actually... Was it ever prepared for something like that? Was the game ever designed to think, hey, it could take us a month longer, 2 months longer, even 2 weeks longer? And I think the answers have been back and forth about what the, correct response is to that. And I figured it would make for a decent topic here. And we've got a pretty wide spread of players between the three of us. Sly, who more casual, but does also participate in things like the Savage Raids and maps and a lot of the auxiliary contents. You, who hopped in and out of all sorts of different things, MMOs of all kinds. So you see the world when it comes to MMOs. And myself, who finds any reason to at least log in for 3 to 4 hours a day, even if it's absolute suffering in the Party Finder or something like that. So we've got
my dabbling in Final Fantasy 14 is like sporadic. I'll be like Sly, where I'm like, Savages, Ultimates, whatever, go get it for 2 months. And then 3 months, I'm like, I'll log in and do dailies, but then that's it.
Oh, you actually do dailies. So you're a good one.
Dude, there's a minion locked behind them.
Well,
there's a minion locked behind them. You know me. I'm at like 310 minions now, Haps.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Wait. Better question.
I knew it. This is what I was waiting for. Say it.
Have you done your goddamn dwarf dailies?
I have. I don't have the tank yet. I'm one.
I'm proud of you.
One tier shy of having the tank.
You have it unlocked though, so that's good. That's better than over me.
Oh yeah. I had that unlocked on day one. It was actually the one that took me the longest to unlock was I know the quest going into the dwarves sucked, but whatever. As far as me personally, the one that took me the longest to get was the gathering one, because I did not have a level 70 gatherer. Because I don't gather in the game at all. I don't like mining or fishing or anything like that. I have 1 or 2 crafters at 80, 70 to 80, so I was fine there. when dwarves launched, but I had to level up fishing just to be able to open that damn daily grind to then go get the minion and the mount. So that was the one that took the longest for me, only because I don't.
But ocean fishing.
Oh God, yeah.
That's the only thing that got me to level fishing was ocean fishing. It's the only thing, because there was a minion and a mount. So you wanted fishing anyway, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I don't really care about mounts. Like, I collect them by proxy because of how many minions I go after. I end up with, you know, hey, if I just do this a little longer, I'll end up with the mount too. So, but minions is all about. Oh, that's right, my Shadowbringers art book. I did not put that code in. So I'm probably at 311. I got to put that one in after the stream today.
It's too many. It's too many. But so the point that we're trying to make really is that because we have so many different views on it, I think we have a decent number of perspectives on the longevity of the content in the game. Because we've often spoken about Final Fantasy XIV is not a game that wants to suck all of your time out of your life. It'll give you a few options to do so.
Yeah.
But it doesn't want to. So it's been an interesting try. It's been an interesting set of trials and sometimes tribulations when it came to this one. So, Sly, as somebody who dabbles and actually has, you actually have another unique outlook, because you don't just play Final Fantasy XIV for the sake of like content. You know, you host your radio nights and stuff. You go to Allure Lounge and you have all these. You have like a general. I'd say that's the role playing side of Final Fantasy XIV in a sense, because it's
in a sense.
Yeah, it's
more unwinding to me. It's more just relaxing, just being able to, you know, go hang out with people, listen to music, do some cool shit in game. That's pretty much all it is.
But it is, I'd say, compared to at least Mr. Byrne and I, it's definitely a unique extra take to have, because you don't necessarily log into 14 every day, but it's still such a regular part of your schedule that I don't know if you feel any. I don't know if you even feel the kind of, I guess, yearning some players have for longer content with longer longevity. I'm not sure that you even feel that yearning necessarily for something that would just eat your time, like a reason to log in every single day or at least a few times a week, more so.
I mean, I am looking forward to Bajja, and Bajja is going to eat a fuck ton of time.
Yes.
So, but I'm not at the point where it's just, oh my God, I need Bajja here, right now. I mean, there's other stuff I can do there. And I like this reprieve, and I say this every time we have breaks like this. I love the reprieve because it gives me time to do other shit, especially with, like, I underestimated September in terms of games and everything.
A lot of people did.
Pretty much
underestimated September. I'm like, holy shit, this is coming out. And you know what, man, like, thank God Bajja's not right now, because I'd be fucked. Like, I think we all would be fucked. Bajja was here and now, and we were still grinding and, you know, leveling with Bajja. But like, these reprieves give me the chance to, you know, catch up with the games that just came out. Hell, I've been playing fucking Star Renegades for several days. I just got through Dragon's Dogma and Kingdoms of Amalur, and it's a really good time for me to go do other shit, and then, you know, come back to 14 when there's, you know, content to consume every day. So that's my take.
And Mr. Byrne, you often dabble in as many MMOs as humanly possible, even if you might regret some of the decisions, just to know how they're doing.
Well, I mean, there's a big part of that is professional, right? Over on MMOBomb.com, right? Covering free-to-play games. So I have to dabble in them, whether I'm streaming them on our Twitch channel or doing a first look video. We're going to talk about them on the free-to-play cast. So I absolutely agree with you, Sly, on it is nice to have the reprieve, right? And with the new project, streaming more stuff and things like that, it's kind of, I don't feel like, I didn't log in for the last 2 days. God, I'm going to be so far behind. It's more like, that's okay. Yeah, I'm a day or two behind on the dailies. It's fine. You know, okay. I guess I'm not going to get that Tombstone piece this week. I'll get it next week, you know, for my white mage or my off class or anything. So I do, while I can appreciate that, And I do take advantage of it, both personally and professionally, in the same way you're doing. I think I am a little closer to the break point of, wow, this is a really long time with nothing really here. Like it doesn't bug me to the point of, look, there's no point in me playing this game. I'm certainly not to the extent of somebody like you, Haps, where I gotta find something to stream because there is nothing.
No, if I don't have anything to stream, I will not log into that damn game.
Yeah, it's I gotta find something. I'm not there. I appreciate the little bit of the reprieve, but when I'm playing it is when I do feel like, well, I'm probably only gonna get an hour out of this today. I feel like, oh man, I want to sit down and play Final Fantasy 14, and I sit down and then I do a bunch of things, and I'm like, I guess my chores are done. I really don't have much to. Well, let's go find another game. That's when I feel it is. Not so much when I'm playing something else. Like I feel like I got to be in Final Fantasy, but when I am in Final Fantasy, I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's a shit ton to do. I'm sorry, I pay the sub. This is my enjoyment. These 6 things don't interest me at all, so I'm just not going to do them. Therefore, there's really not much for me to do right now until X dungeons come out, X trials come out, X story comes out. So I do feel it a little bit more in-game than out-of-game, I think.
I feel that to some degree. I've been playing 3 to 4 hours a day since 5.3 came out, so 5.5 weeks, which is actually more than I normally play, but... It's because I've taken up something I've never done in Final Fantasy 14.
And what's that?
I'm collecting the Shadowbringers mounts now.
So you've made your own content, and made this is a new thing for me to go do, but it's not totally new for you. It sounds like you're basically front ending it.
It's pretty new to some. I've never done a mount farm for any mount that's relevant when it's relevant, if that makes sense. I've never once.
Does this include the faux leaves mount, by the way?
I am 270 leaves out of the 600 for that.
God, talk about the worst thing added to this game.
I can talk about it because I do it. It takes me about 30 minutes once a week to get both my clears out of the way.
I hate that system.
I've got a few thoughts on it. But no, yeah, for the first time, I've actually felt motivated to work on the mounts as they're actually relevant. I didn't finish the Heavensward mounts till I could solo every EX trial in Heavensward, and that was recent. that was very, very recent. I haven't done a single Stormblood mount. I don't have any of them. And Shadowbringers, I don't have any of them, but I have way more clears. No, Sly, I have none of the Stormblood mounts. I have seen every single one drop. I've also lost every single one of them.
Not one doggo.
Not one dog. Not a single one. Oh, actually, no, because we got the dog from Susano from the Moogle Tombstone event, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, it's still technically, yeah. So, I do technically have one. I think it's a Susano dog, but I got that from the Moogle Tombstone event. That's it. I took one look at Byakko and said, I'm never doing this. I'm never farming these mounts ever. It's never happening. I don't care.
And you're right. It is more the currency than the system itself. But
yeah. Well, we can talk about that in a little bit because that does kind of tie in with the way that they designed Unreal because it seems like longevity was the idea ? On Fox Leaves ? But no, I'm at 90 totems on the most recent trial right now. And not by my own doing from losing all the mounts along the way. So, yeah. I've never done that. I've never collected more than 33 totems ever for any fight that's had them. And I'm
not
90.
terribly lucky with the mounts either, but I'm also not farming the hell out of them. I don't care. I don't care. If I get them, I get them. If I don't, I don't. The only time I've really farmed them is when like friends have, hey, we're gonna go farm this, and it's like, yeah, sure. I have nothing else to do. Yeah, let's go. Other than that,
I think I only really farmed ponies since it was really easy to do, and yeah, I got all of them. That was the only; those were the only set I really truly farmed. Everything else was just.
But did you do it when they were relevant, or did you go back and do them when you were like 60 or 70 or anything?
It was somewhat relevant. No. I think it was what, mid Heavensward?
Then yeah, they weren't relevant anymore. I mean, they were.
Yeah, they weren't relevant,
They were basically soloable almost by some jobs at that point.
Yeah.
I've never done them while relevant. In fact, the only reason I got any mounts in 2.x, I was in a free company that was doing doing sales. They were like selling it for Gil. And I was live streaming and I just got an invite and I'm like, they're like Titan. I'm like, okay. And then we start the fight and one dude jumps off the edge and I'm like, is this a sale? I don't want to do Gil sales while I'm live. It's kind of weird. Can I roll on the mount if it drops though? And they're like, yeah, he didn't buy the mount. Mount dropped. I won it and left. That was Nightmare, by the way. That was Nightmare mount, not the other ones. So I've had Nightmare. I did one Titan to get Nightmare and won it. So that's my only time I've ever been lucky with a mount. That's not true. I got the Night Pegasus my first time going to Palace of the Dead over 150. I got the Night Pegasus the first time.
Nice.
So, and I've never been back to 150 since. I said, fuck it, I won.
Yeah, there's no reason to doubt you got what you wanted.
I was like, I won. That's it. I don't care about getting the 200
I beat
again.
the game. I'm done.
I've got the only thing that matters.
Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah. But something that's been big for me with the most recent EX trial, the reason I've actually been able to farm it 90 times is for a couple of things. Shadowbringers has generally been regarded to as the best expansion for Final Fantasy 14, whether people are talking about it being story related, content related, or quality of life related. It's the general consensus.
Yeah.
And I think I've hit the point where the quality has hit a point where I can repeat it X number of times, way more than I used to, over something like the Stormblood trials or anything like that. And that for me with the most recent trial was so good, I went, you know what? I can do this 99 times. And that will motivate me to do the other ones potentially 99 times if I have to. And so the quality of the expansion is really picked up in such a way that I didn't anticipate, because I really don't ever care about farming mounts. I like mounts, but I have the Morbowl, which from Blue Mage, which like almost nobody fucking has apparently.
No.
I've got Ozma from Baldessian Arsenal. I've got the Shark from Ocean Fishing, and then whatever the most recent raid mount is, and those are my 4 mounts. Those are the only 4 mounts I ever use. And so the idea of collecting a mount is a very foreign idea to me when it comes to doing a fight nigh 100 times.
Right. Yeah, and I don't even have, like, I use the random roulette and just have, I don't even have anything favorited. I don't care. I got the minion. Great. How many mounts do I have? 30? Whatever it is. Something around there, like 28, 35, somewhere in there. And I was like, oh, fantastic. Oh, I didn't know I had that many. It's just, I don't care.
Yeah, I want to say my most used mount is probably the red hair, which is the Mog Station mount. I mean, of course, I'm going to use the shit out of it.
You paid for it.
It was no, actually, it was a gift from someone. It was a gift from someone, and like I was thinking about getting the peacock one, but you know, the peacock outfit goes well with the red hair anyway. So, yeah, it's yeah. If somebody paid for that, or you pay for a mount, like hell yeah, I'm going to use that more. I paid for that shit, but other than that, I'll use the tank too because the tank's awesome. Like, tank's
I'm not there yet.
Well, I don't have the tank.
One more tier of rep to get. One more tier of rep.
I'll get there, Sly.
Man, I'm already Bloodsworn now with him. Yeah, like max rank. Yeah,
I think. Yeah. It's Bloodsworn and then Allied is when we get the quests. Yeah. The follow quests, which is the main reason why I'll make sure I get it done at some point. But for the most part with Shadowbringers, it's been the number one thing that's kept me from really wondering about content that could last longer, I suppose, which defining it, we'll get into what kind of content we could even think of that falls into that category. Ones that we would actually enjoy versus ones that'll just exist for the sake of it, because obviously Bajja is coming out, and that's going to be hit or miss with a lot of people.
Well, I think there's something outside of the game, though, that probably warrants putting into the discussion at this point. And it's the fact that in addition to like delays and development and is this content, you know, the longevity of the content, is it any good? This also impacted outside the game though, right? And so we would not be sitting here on a prominent Final Fantasy 14 podcast talking about longevity of content if we had our fan fest, and if we had all the events that have already started to queue up the discussions about 6.0 and speculation and hints and reveals and all this other stuff, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. I think that exacerbates the problem a little bit, if you see it as a problem, first off. But if you are looking at, not only is the content in the game a little dry, a little extended, maybe you're getting bored or you don't have much to do because there's certain things you don't want to do, and you recognize that. But because there's nothing really going on outside the game for us to talk about and speculate, it just kind of makes it seem more obvious that, wow, I don't really have anything to do in this game right now. And I think that bears a little remembering as well.
But the funny thing about that is, like, even with all that, people are content. There's not like there's not like a mob of angry subscribers to the game saying, well, fuck this, I'll take my sub elsewhere. And no, it's like nobody's really angry. Not a lot of the community is angry.
Yep.
And I think like that goes to show several things. One, the yearning for content, like you were saying, but two, how good a expansion or the content that we currently have already is, to the point where we're still satiated. And I think a little bit of that is understanding. A little bit of that is understanding that there are things going on. The devs are at the mercy of pretty much everything that's going on.
Yeah,
but the majority of it is like us being content with the content.
Yeah, and a certain amount I would hope is just basic human understanding, right?
You'd hope, but there's a lack of that.
I know, but you would hope that there's a lot of, hey, I can understand what's going on affects us all in different ways and stuff like that. I do feel for the Raiders, though. They kind of got asked out with Shadowbringers, though, didn't they?
I don't. So here's the thing. I don't agree with that.
I mean, as a Raider, I didn't enjoy the raids. I did.
Okay, let me put it this way.
They're not my favorites, but I enjoyed them. But like, if you are a Raider, and that is your thing in this game, I feel like Shadowbringers might have disappointed you a little bit.
No more so than any other one would have, because Stormblood was. I hated the Omega series raids. Just to be clear, I hated.
I liked Omega.
I hated the blind fan service with no sort of like meaningful tie-in, and you can tell what other raid I probably don't like for that same reason. That involves a few more than 8 people. But in regards to Stormblood was a big uptick for end game. I think it pushed a lot of people to have higher expectations, because it was the introduction of Ultimate. It was finally the thing the hardcore raiders were looking for. They had their 4.1 Ukab, they had their 4.3 Uwu, and that was it. They had 2. Now, the discussion from Raiders back then was often, while I'd love to have 3 Ultimates, if I only got 2, I'd want them to be in 0.1 and 0.5, so there's something to do leading up to the expansion.
Beginning and end, yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly what they got. So, I feel like if they could have known there would have been a 2-month delay, they might have said something different, but there's no way anyone could have known what was going to transpire. So, hindsight is 2020. So it's only. So
you liked Nier? You liked Nier?
I hate Nier. Okay. That's the raid I was talking about when I said the Omega one. Yeah,
the one you were referencing.
I
remember. I actually had to go back and look at this, Haps, because I had remembered years ago on XIV Reborn. That was the name of the show you used to do, by the way.
Yeah, I'm glad. Remember the last discussion we had where I said I forgot the name? Yeah.
Yeah, you forgot the name. XIV Reborn, and it was I don't care what you say.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. I googled it the other day to make sure I remembered. I was like, it's XIV Reborn, right?
It had SEO value, and it was a play on a previously existing Game Breakers show, so it worked.
Yeah.
Anyway, we talked about, you and I think it was on a 2-man show. It was just the 2 of us, where way back we were talking about events coming into the game in particular, but then I think we segued into like raids and stuff. and if either one of us was okay with fanfare type stuff being put in. And I think it was the lightning event that triggered this discussion way back when. Because that was like the first big crossover, wasn't it?
That was the first crossover event at all. Yep.
Okay. So
was
that's
that
kind of what
triggered.
Yes, it was before the Final Fantasy XI Dragon Quest event. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I had to go back because I was like, were we for or against that back then? Because I had the feeling we were both kind of against it. We didn't want.
I think we were both okay with it, but we weren't like. Don't make it a regular thing. We were okay with Nod,
but we didn't want. I did go back. We were okay with nods, like a fan service nods. But what we didn't want was like a Sephiroth boss for no reason other than it's a Sephiroth boss.
Man, you wonder why I don't like Omega.
And then we were both okay with the lightning event at the time. We were okay with like those little crossovers, but we didn't want like the raid stuff. And Omega totally changed my mind.
Oh my god.
Not because I thought Omega was like a huge, great raid or anything, but I was okay with it because as far-fetched as the story was, these weren't characters that were part of the Final Fantasy XIV world. And so I was like, okay, all right, I'll buy in. And I sat there and grinned like an idiot while I was fighting some of these things. So I kind of like them. On that same note, I hated the Nier raid. I hated the Nier raid.
Thank you.
Not that I thought it was like horrible content. It's an okay raid.
Yeah.
But just the cross aspect on that one, I didn't like. And I think it was for the main reason, one, it's odd. It just feels really out of place to me. And two, it was kind of a poor representation of Nier. Like when you're playing Nier, it is frenetic, it is bullet hell, it is, And so if you have never played Nier, maybe that got you to play Nier, and that's great, fantastic. But if you'd already played Nier, you kind of came in and you were like, no, I kind of want to go play Nier. Because it's a better version of Nier.
The bullet hell part of 14 are like these slow-moving balls that people still somehow get hit by. They're just like... And as much as I love the hallway, which I think is one of their greatest sequences in a raid... Yeah. That it's momentary
when they can't do Nier in Final Fantasy. Like,
when the hentai final boss comes out, I'm like, no, I'm not down for this giant jizz ball of a boss. I don't want it.
But we disagree. I liked Omega. I don't care.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you liked the jizz ball. Okay, that's it.
That is not something that even if I liked, I would ever remotely say out loud on this show.
It was leading into that. Okay. Speaking of which, if you like Omega, read the latest Tales of the Shadows for a good laugh. Just so you know, there's something pretty funny involving him in there. So I would highly advise going to read it. But yeah, I forgot even how we got all the way onto that with the Nier raid, because we were talking about the quality of content, and then you just made sure that it was that.
I threw in there. Yeah, I kind of threw in there that I felt Raiders got kind of assed out.
I don't think we have. See, a lot of people are back and forth of whether or not the raids have been good or not. I think T was not a great representation of Alexander, not as good as it could have been. There's a lot of iconic things that weren't in there. But it was still a lot of fun, and a lot of frustration, and a lot of trials and tribulations, like any Ultimate should be. I think both the raid tiers had their ups and downs, but I can look back at previous raid tiers and find the exact same complaints. Like I remember Sigmascape Guardian being absolutely all of stuff. Two and a half of the 4 fights of Sigmascape were terrible, in my opinion. Deltascape, literally the first boss was beat on 1 blind pull. Like, just remember that. And then I come to Eden, and I'm like, okay, yeah, there's a few things here that are kind of boring. They tried, they're not really sticking, but I generally had a lot more fun with these last 2 than I had with Omega altogether. So I think we're in the same boat. I think it's just 2 months make Raiders in a game that is not raid centric. It stands out. It makes us louder, I think. Is all that. Yeah,
and I think that's the spot that they're in right now. It's, in my estimation, I feel like they got mediocre at best content for what they like consuming in the game, and then on top of that, they're stuck with it for an extended period of time. So it creates a bad spot for Raiders. That's where at least I'm coming from, looking at maybe this isn't the best spot for raiders to be in particular right now. Although Sly, you and I, on the more sometimes we'll raid, sometimes we won't raid side, it works for us.
That looks Sly.
It's more like at the beginning of every tier, I go hard in the paint, and then it's like, well, fuck, man. I mean, I have other shit to do, but God, but yeah, like those nights when I'm up at damn near 4 o'clock in the morning, raiding and getting shit done the first week, or trying to get shit done the first week, and then it's whatever the week's on in.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to go back to you. Now, one thing I'll say that Shadowbringers has done is it brought a lot of new raiders in. I feel like it made raiding, I want to say accessible. That might be the wrong word.
I think it is, because I really think Stormblood did what you're implying right now, or what you're saying, but not what you mean, is something more that I'd owe to Stormblood than Shadowbringers. I think Shadowbringers is more players, so thus it brought more people in, personally, as opposed to like the scene, like them making any significant changes.
Now, Byrne, do you think anything was sacrificed towards, hardcore raiders with bringing like a bunch of new raiders in, and we're making raids, kind of meh for hardcore raiders?
I mean, that goes back to what, Hap, your illusion just a few seconds ago of as much raiding as there is in the game, it's not a raiding game. At the end of the day, yes, there are some raids in there. Yes, there are some challenging pieces of content, at least for a little while. There are challenging pieces of content on the raid front. But it's not a huge focus. And I don't think the problems right now are any worse than they were in 4.x or 3.x. I mean, we can argue about you didn't like this content, you like this fight. You didn't like this fight, you like this fight. But I don't think I just think they're exacerbated. That's all.
Yeah.
By the current state of affairs. So I wouldn't say that it feels like the team sacrificed to make something more accessible to do, and took away from maybe the hardcore raiders to do it. I didn't get playing through it as not a hardcore progression raider or anything. I didn't get that feeling that it was a lesser quality, a lesser experience, a lesser piece of content. I got the feeling that this wasn't content I enjoyed as much as I've enjoyed other similar content. But it's just exacerbated by the fact that there's not shit else to do right now in this 2020 world of ours. I think that just, again, I keep going back to there's so much stuff going on outside the game that is impacting the stuff we talk about, that the minutia, the small flaws inside the game are what we're talking about, which we normally wouldn't be. I don't think the rating was sacrificed at the expense of something else. I just think it was a mediocre tier of raid that is exacerbated by it being the current tier of raid for longer than it would normally be the current tier of raid. If that makes any sense.
It makes very good sense, yes. I do wonder though, because then it raises the question. So it obviously everything's designed exactly as it normally is. That's safe to say. The question then becomes, is normal still acceptable in Final Fantasy XIV? Is what is normal acceptable? Is content that is largely, I guess, for the average player, accessible and quick to complete or reasonable to complete in a limited play session, with the few pieces that aren't scrambled in there, things like Ishgard ranking, which is again over until 4 months from now, pretty much. So another thing to consider there, or a new raid tier coming out. Is normal okay in Final Fantasy XIV?
Are we talking about the difficulty?
No, we're talking about what is the norm for a content cycle.
The norm as far as content cycle. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, actually, I think normal is getting way too easy in this game, but that's a totally different topic.
I do enough Duty Finder to disagree. I do enough Duty Finder to see enough disasters to disagree.
That's true. That could definitely, because I'm always doing it with people that I know. So
yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Sly?
Do you know our expectations? I feel like even with everything, with 2020 and everything going on, like we know enough of our community's expectations to know that normal is not going to cut it. And even with everything going on, remember how we said that there was this point where, like, in terms of content, and I think this is in regards to time, but I'll speak for just content in general. There's a point there where everyone's understanding, and then there's like after a certain period of time, you know, less and less people are understanding.
Yeah.
I feel like in terms of content, like we're getting past the understanding part, especially with being normal. We're expecting Baja, we're expecting, you know, like good content, quality content, difficult content. And we've had that expectation before, even before everything went, like everything that's going on, we've had that expectation that it never went away. It never went away completely. It just subsided for understanding. Now we don't want normal. We don't want normal anymore. We want challenging. We want good. We want to be entertained. And if we don't get that, we're gonna fucking riot, even with understanding. Even with understanding. So that's just how I feel. I feel like we've been like, this ain't our first rodeo. With everything going on, this ain't our first rodeo.
See, I don't know. I don't know if the pace is the problem for me. I think more for the problem for me is probably the, you know, I'm a little more maybe understanding than most. You know, I'm on furlough. I have been since April on my job. I don't go back till January 1st. You know, so I'm very impacted by everything that's going on as far as like my day job being a software engineer. But so I have a little more patience than most, maybe, on the whole pacing of content. What I kind of feel like is the pattern is stale at this point. The pattern, which was good when 2.0 launched, going into 3.0, going into 4.0, we knew that was going to be the pattern, right? As soon as 2.0 launched, Haps, we talked about they have basically everything up through 4.0 done. As at least as far as storyboarding and development of that stuff and their plans on where they were taking everything up until the PS3 was going to be dropped from support. Like they had that, and we were going to get these updates these couple of months. Every couple of months we'll get this, and on 5.1 you'll get, or on X1 you'll get this, X2 you'll get this, X3 you'll get this, then it'll be this raid, then that raid, then this raid, then that raid. I think the pattern is just now stale. You know, if you're looking for a particular piece of content, right, you know that what you're looking for is going to be in X.0, X.1, and then not again until X.3 or X.5, depending on what piece of content you're looking at. And the dots may vary, you know, depending on what piece of content you're talking about. But you know, okay, well, there's really, I don't have a whole lot to do for 2 patches now because what I really like enjoying in this game. So I think the patterns almost become stale. Now, I'm not saying randomize it. Players, we do need to have an idea of what's coming. But while there's a certain element of, okay, I can be done with this game for the next month and a half or 3 months if I got to wait till the next patch, that is certainly nice. When it becomes just it becomes as boring as doing the content 90, 100 times at some point.
Thanks.
So
Thanks for dragging me into that.
I think it kind of gets a little stale there. And maybe that's from the perspective of somebody that, you know, talks about this shit for a living.
Right.
And not somebody that plays this stuff for a living. I'm willing to concede that that's possibly the point. But I do think that there's a bit of staleness in the pattern and the content. Maybe.
What happened to the good old internet adage of we don't want fucking change. No, don't change shit. No.
Because realistically, that's still the same adage, but nobody ever says it.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah. Has everyone
keep in mind the content. We're talking about longevity of content here. If you look back, we have lost content. So when we're looking back saying, this particular patch lasted longer in my brain, and this particular patch lasted longer in my brain, when you look at the current patch, I mean, we lost a dungeon, right? Way back when we stopped getting the second or the extra dungeon in the patch. Hard modes, we haven't. So we have lost content. So although the schedule remained the same with the exception of the whole COVID situation, there has been a drop in the content that is in those patches too. So it's not just something we're imagining because of COVID. That's certainly a part of it, but there actually has historically over X years been a drop in content on certain dot patches.
And there's an interesting thing to break apart because that has been explained to us, specifically the dungeon thing. Originally, they wanted so many dungeons because they need to fill their game with dungeons. And then they were like, we really don't need as many dungeons. And they're like, okay, no, we really don't need this many dungeons. Like, this is too many. And they shifted specifically. I forget which interview this was, but it was either, I think it was a 5.2 interview or a 5.3 interview in the last year, where they specifically talked about building assets for more cinematic experiences.
Yeah.
Being a big
more story pieces, story set pieces.
So things like the Sapphire Weapon fight, or having this entire extra town with dialogue, and having a hub for the resistance weapons and things like that to I guess build out the world. Because I'm sure what their data showed them is what a lot of us would often express, in that I'm doing a dungeon once, and then if it doesn't pop up in the roulette, it's gone from my life as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. So taking that in turn, using those same assets to create one-off experiences, which I'm also 50-50 on. Like, my biggest one-off experience that feels like I wish they wouldn't just make them a one-off and make, I don't know, some sort of solo instance roulette or something. Like a roulette just sends you through like one of the solo instances that is unplayable outside of New Game Plus or something like that.
Right.
For leveling, or I don't know what they would do with it. But like the Memoria solo instance for the beginning of the Resistance Weapon quest line, where they fleshed out an entire dream world sequence with, a multitude of bosses and lore reveals, and then that's it. I love that sequence. I love that area, but that's where that's a one-to-one practically of where dungeon to one-off experience.
Yep.
The tour from this past patch, I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's things like that, only being able to do the Sapphire Weapon encounter a single time, another one, then having no way of outside New Game Plus replaying it. And even if I were to New Game Plus it eventually, I'd have to go through all the stuff before it to play it again. So I think they're missing opportunities in some places where they're creating these one-off experiences and maybe not capitalizing on them as much for sake of longevity, even if it just means another roulette to encourage somebody to log in for the day or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about longevity, I'd say that most expansions probably didn't pick up until their 0.3-ish eras. It feels like most of them take an extra raid tier or two in both regards to 8 and 24 mans, on top of a couple of extra ideas, before things really take center stage, take a lot of time that pop up. Things like Palace of the Dead, Heaven on High, Eureka, and now coming up is the Bajdan Front, which I think is the biggest reason why people are talking about longevity, because we were originally hoping it would be out around 4 days from now.
Yeah, now.
Yeah. 6 weeks into the patch. Their original projections were 3 weeks for content A and 6 weeks for content B. It took 4 weeks for content A, and now 8 weeks for content B. Which is why Yoshi P usually avoids dates. And I was really surprised to hear him say, about a month and a half. And I'm like, that's dangerous. You shouldn't have said that. That was a bad idea right there. And so that's, I think, one of the big things that's got people concerned is not only did they wait 2 months extra for the patch, for circumstances that were under nobody's control in particular. And as you said, we're understanding. We've been told we're back on the normal schedule, and it doesn't feel like we are.
That's the concern, at least for me, is we've heard that we are, but we're not.
Right.
We're not. I mean, you can clearly see that we're not. It's not are we really on the normal schedule? Because, wait, let me go back and count. No, we're just not. And that's the concern is I would rather anytime that something like this goes on, that there's just full we are not on schedule. We hope to be back on schedule at X patch or whatever. We'll keep you posted. We're not on schedule. And to say we are just makes it uncomfortable for me.
No, that's exactly the word I was going to use. Uncomfortable, fearful, because there's still so many question marks about Final Fantasy XIV coming back from 5.3, which everyone's agreed was a great patch. Everyone, wanted a great finale to the story. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, Ishgard exists, so you could deal with that however you want, I suppose. And then there's a few new ideas that pop up as well. But Bozja being this alternate leveling that isn't like Palace of the Dead or Heaven on High, but is also not trying to level you like Eureka. It's trying to be this like constant, fast-paced, open battlefield PvE style content thing that only somewhat resembles stuff that we've seen in the past. And we have the Unreal Trials, which are trying to make use of old assets for limited portions of time with long grinds over the weeks to at least encourage you to maybe hit your Wondrous Tales and your Fox trials, your Unreal trials every week.
P.S. I like the Shiva fight itself. I hate the idea of these Unreals. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
But this is actually important because while I was going to dig into Bozja there, I did want to get back to Unreal since you mentioned it earlier. Is it just the number of currency, the RNG of the currency, the cost of the items?
The currency stuff is set aside. I mean, that's just the cost of the items is ridiculous. Yeah. The cost of the items is absurd. You clear something. Typically, when you're doing like a pony farm or anything like that, you're like, all right, I need 5 clears, I need 10 clears, whatever it is. And
this you don't know how many you need.
6 weeks. Yeah, this year you have no idea, but it's going to be a lot. That aspect I hate. Yes, I like the Shiva fight itself. Doing it with people I know.
Let me tell you about the party finder, my friend.
Particularly at the beginning of the patch. But I just feel like, and maybe talk me off the ledge here, right? Maybe this is just me. I just feels like the whole idea of the leaves and the Unreal content itself is very contrary to a lot of things Yoshi P has said about his design philosophy over years and years and years. How he always looks at content being something that you can engage in, and when you're finished, if you want to unsub for a month, go ahead and do it. We'll see you in the next patch. And he encourages you to play other games and stuff. The Unreal stuff feels real fear of missing out to me. So, and I don't like that. I'm totally willing to concede that this may just be a personal thing on myself, but it just feels like, oh my God, I got to run that because it's not going to be here long, and those rewards might not be here long, and then I got to do this so many times so that I can get those rewards because they might not be here long. And granted, I know we're not talking about content that's going to go away in a week. There is a longer timeline in his brain, but I wouldn't have such a huge distaste or a bad taste in my mouth about it if Yoshi P wasn't so vocal over so many years about not wanting to develop that type of style of play. He wants you to feel like you can play for a while, and then if you're not up to it or you want to go try something else, go ahead and then come on back. And I just feel like Unreal doesn't fit that mold for me. That's my primary gripe with it, Sly.
I'll take it. Mike, back me up if I'm wrong. Okay.
No, I'm not going to back you up. Oh, the other Mike. Oh, yeah, I forgot about
You're Mr. Byrne. You're not Mike here.
And you're Big Daddy.
Yeah, that's true. So which one of us are you talking to, Sly? All right.
Hat Daddy. I'm talking to Hat Daddy. your leaves don't go away, right?
No,
like
no.
We don't know anything about those leaves. To be fair,
I would assume you're not gonna.
I would assume not. We don't know fucking anything about those leaves, and that's what I'm
assuming.
Okay, if it's
come on,
this
would burn down Eorzea if they took. If
it's safe to assume that they're not going anywhere, the prizes or your list of what you can get with the leaves.
That's where I'm a little. See, that's where I don't quite agree.
That's what we don't know because so it's not right now. It's
a possibility that those could sub in and out.
Exactly. So the fear of missing out is more like the fear of not knowing if I'm going to miss out because. I feel like FOMO is closer related to looking at like the Mario situation right now where they're like in March it's gone, so get it, and it's like, but why is it not just like, why would you just stop selling this in March? It doesn't make any sense. But this is, we don't know if we need, like if 6 weeks from now there's like a live letter and they go, yeah, we're gonna rotate out all the old rewards, it's too late. If you weren't already invested in it, you're it's it. There's almost no way you get enough leaves by that.
Do I realistically think they're going to take your leaves away from you, Sly? No. Do I realistically, from a logical standpoint, think that they're going to take rewards away or cycle them in and out? Probably not as well.
Yeah, but we
don't by creating content that leads to those rewards and acknowledging that those are going to cycle in and out, you leave the question mark there.
Yeah.
And that's the design piece of this whole Unreal Circle that I just don't like. There shouldn't be a question mark. And screw rewards. This is a piece of content that is going to go away at some point. I hate what Destiny 2 is doing with the Vault. I mean, I understand logically why they're doing it, but I don't like anytime content is stripped away like that for really no real reason. What's it hurt if Shiva stays in the game? What's it hurt if there's 2 Unreal fights for a little while? You know,
I have a 50-50 opinion on that.
This to me just feels like, hell, Ishgard titles.
Yeah, fuck those things.
It's almost exactly like Ishgard titles, and like, hey, you're getting new titles. Wait, what?
They said no, we're not going to do that. I like how they started getting. See, that's the thing. Also, I wonder if the reason Ishgard took an extra week is because they took a little longer to take feedback in about whether or not they should actually change the title, but they didn't tell us that. So. We're just left to think, I wonder, it's leaving question marks. That's the number one problem that we have, I think, is just not having answers and not having indications that we'll get them in the next week, 2 weeks, whatever. So yeah, when it comes to that, that's my only fear. So I don't have a fear of missing out. I genuinely enjoy doing the Unreal trials because I find that it's going to sound ridiculous.
It's comedy.
It's hilarious.
I hate being synced for them, but whatever.
That's why it's hilarious though, because I see as like, oh, okay, the only mechanic here is to stand behind the boss. 3 people die. I'm like, how does this happen?
I like the fight itself. Yeah. I like the fight itself.
Not to mention, it's actually pretty hard because of the syncing, the healing, and damage taken and damage required to beat it is actually at times tougher than the most recent relevant content. It's actually a lot of fun.
I 100% agree. I love the fight itself. I just don't feel a need for it to go anywhere. Even if you don't want to give people options as far as getting leaves, then when you add the second Unreal or the third Unreal down the road, then you just make it its own queue. The only way to access Unreal is through this queue, and you randomly get one of the 2 or one of the 3 or one of the 4 that are in the game. I'm okay with that too.
So
that way you don't have a bunch of people saying, hey, X was introduced as the next Unreal, and now it's harder because it came out a little later, and the gear syncing is a different gear score and things like that. So nobody's doing it because they go to Shiva just to get their leaves done and stuff. That's fine. Just, okay, now the only way to get into it is through a queue instead, and you're once per day, you're randomly going to get one. Could be the new one, could be Shiva. That seems logical and fair and cool to me, rather than we're going to design this content, only have it here for X period of time, and then take it out. And if it comes back, I don't know. We'll tell you at some point if we decide to ever bring it back.
So
It
here's
just seems
the
weird
thing.
to me.
When they initially unveiled it, it made sense to me because the prospect behind it was balancing it for the patch that it's being released in. You know, it's relevant to level 80, and when level 80 goes away, now you've just made an extra fight, and it's kind of like, okay, but it's just literally why is this here? I get it, but they synced it so low, it implies they're going to sync them all probably to 430, and at that point, taking any of them away before 6.0 starts. I think you keep Shiva, you add a new one in 5.4. They said even they wanted to add 2 per patch at some point, which means they want to do the whole cycling thing anyway, most likely, or you'd at least assume so, because if they have 2 of them and they don't let you, and they don't cycle, they just let you pick. Everyone's going to pick the easier one. That's the fact. So, the fact that they capped it so low means there's no reason to take it out until 6.0 when you then start over and start adding them in again. Yeah, so I agree with that. There's no point in removing Shiva with the way they've set it up. And I hope they kind of come to that conclusion.
And Mogbart's right, by the way. I mean, even my off the top of my head solution of a queue isn't the best, the most ideal solution, because, you know, then somebody queuing should reasonably be expected to be familiar with all the fights that are available in the queue. I'm not saying it's the answer. It was just my whole overarching point there was, there's really no reason for it to be something that's there and then not, when you have way more options to do something more meaningful with this. If you have concerns about people farming one versus the other, there are ways around that. Then we're going to take Shiva out to put the next one in. That's more my point than let's make a queue. I realize off the top of my head that might not be the perfect answer. Give me like 10 more minutes. I'll come back with it.
Yeah, so I agree with that.
Perfect answer.
It is a system that, like you said, because of FOMO, or because of the duration of which it takes to get the items and all the question marks, though, it does seem like the kind of content that's designed that it's taking one of the things that 14's kind of done well over the years, and it takes stuff that it's made and tries to always keep it relevant, but it's also trying to be brought up to a new relevancy in an activity that they would hope you would pursue week after week after week after week. So it seems to be at least an attempt at a solution to that idea. And it's a noble idea. By the way,
Shiva's really hard to move. She's an asshole.
She's
on the old patterns as far as when they'll move and go after the aggro target. And God, it took me, I was like, what is going on here? Am I lagging? Like, oh my God, this is the way the game used to be. Holy shit. I forgot about this.
You want to know what's great about that? If you've ever watched a Heaven on High or Palace of the Dead solo, a lot of those mobs are designed like that, and it's heavily abused to do the solos. They take the auto and then they move away, and the target, like, it autos and then stops moving and then goes.
Yep.
and then hits you one more time.
I was like, oh my God, I forgot about this.
Yeah, that's Shiva's like that. She was pretty annoying when it comes to that, especially when she's in bow form and she's like, I mean, it's a bow and arrow. What the fuck do you want from me? Like. So yeah, no, I feel you with that, but I at least it's something I'm somewhat enjoying. I'm finding my comedy, and then I'm finding my content in it. But the next thing people are looking at is Bozja, because Bozja is, in some essence, is not just the new Eureka like a lot of people keep thinking of it as. Even if it's not going to be designed in a lot of the same ways, there's no like level system. There's like a ranking system as opposed to a leveling system in there. It's going to be content that lets you level your alternate jobs. It's going to be something that has gear with special effects on it right from the get-go. It's going to have actions right from the get-go. It's going to have all the feedback they took from Eureka right from the get-go. And we've seen those things, and those things are promising because those are the things that made Eureka better for the people who invested in it towards the end. The interesting thing, though, is that this now is this content is now the shoulders with which longevity needs to sit on until 5.4. So the question of how it's designed and the question marks we still have around that are really the big thing, because is this going to be something that hangs around, or is it going to be as divisive as Eureka was, where the number of people doing it is not insignificant, but there's a lot of hesitation to be involved in the content altogether, whether or not it has a relic or it's a leveling method or whatever reason people may find to actually go in there.
I feel like that's more subjective than it kind of already is, because, again, like you said, it's a piece of content that's, it's a relic, it's a grind, but at the same time, it can be utilized for something else. You can use it to level. So this will be kind of based on the people who do it or who want to utilize it for whatever they want to utilize it for. Do you want to do, like, are you just going to use this to level your alt job? Sure. Then, yeah, this will probably last you a good while? Or are you doing this just for the sake of a relic grind and getting all the actions and getting the 1v1s and all that? Sure, it might last you a while. So it depends. It really depends on what you want to get out of it, I think.
It's to me, it's still a sidebar activity, though. It's still not. It's still not.
I mean, this game is built on sidebar activities. Is the
absolutely,
thing.
yeah, absolutely. But
dude, Leap of Faith. Dude. You know how Leap of Faith. You know how good a content Leap of Faith is to me, and not for the reason why Sly thinks. Not for the reason why you think Sly. Not because it's an amazing jump puzzle and there should be like a billion more of them.
Amazing. Okay.
No. It's because I get to go to the end, get there in a minute and a half, and then turn on Insatiable and put the part We Fall on loop and just watch other people fuck it up for 8 minutes. That's content.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. That is a legitimate piece of content as far as I'm concerned. And Gold Saucer is
makes great videos. Great videos.
Yeah, I really got to make a highlight of watching people jump off of Leap of Faith. Specifically the new one. The old one's not as fun to do that with. The new one is great for that in particular. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that. I have tons of highlights of it already, so I just need to pull them together. But it doesn't. Overall, it just doesn't change the fact that Bajra is what people are looking at to be the activity, the remaining activity. Anyone who is done farming Savage, it's already unlocked at this point. Like right. It's people are trying to move to the next thing. It's going to be Bajra. And Bajra does a few things interestingly that Eureka kind of started on the trend, but never really hit its stride until the very end. In adding gear that specifically makes you more powerful inside of these sidebar activities. One of the biggest things people look for is some way to feel rewarded, and 14's item level system, while not an unfamiliar item level system, doesn't try to throw a whole lot of curveballs at you. It doesn't throw set bonuses or unique effects on armor. It tries to tell you, no, this is what the drops, this is what it does, and it'll most likely be better than what you had before. So when you've gotten it, you've completed it, you're done. That's it, you're free.
Yeah.
Bajra creates another one of those grinds on the side, and I think that's probably the place that I'd look the most to the 14 devs to look at how they can create longer content without necessarily having to throw crazy resources at something. Because quite frankly, when Eureka started doing Eureka effect stuff, it was incredibly satisfying to be someone who had invested the time and resources into getting those things to do that content further compared to the people who didn't. So that's what I want to say.
No doubt, but I don't want to see it be as boring to get to that point.
Which is why
as it was.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad it seems to have all the things that they learned from Eureka throughout its time, and they're all there from the get-go. Then you have question marks like the 1v1 battle with all the people watching you to see if you fuck up. Can't wait. I can't wait for that.
And we got our own little Call of Duty gulag.
It's too bad there's not a gulag. Dude, we need gulags in more games as far as I'm concerned. The gulag needs to exist in more games. That includes 14. If I want one round at a time PvP matches, and the people who die have to go fight in the gulag to earn their way back.
Are we talking about PvP now?
Yeah. You see how 1v1s, man. It's gulag.
You might be surprised on that topic. might disappoint some of your viewers, actually.
What? How much you love it?
So it's been a little over a year since my last show, and I'm kind of got sick of taking shit from you two for never PvPing at all in the game.
Hey, look, I never gave you shit.
That's a lie. Anyway.
That's. Okay. All right.
So
continue.
I might have done some Wolves Den.
Is it even called Wolves Den anymore?
You know what I'm talking about. And I kind of might have got a little hooked on PvP for a little bit.
You feasting? You feasting?
In Final Fantasy. So then I thought, well, I could probably check out the Feast. And then I
got gold.
No, I didn't get gold. But I was stuck in a little bit of a PvP, era. It was like the the only thing I was doing when I logged in. I got a little behind on tomestones in that patch because I wasn't doing my PvP or my PvE anymore. So, yeah, let me show you something.
Oh, God.
The fact that he has something scares me.
Yeah.
It looks like, I don't know. Well, the fact that he has it so ready, what is he doing? For our audio-only listeners.
You fucking kidding? I didn't do any PvP.
Yeah, there you go.
Get the hell out of here.
Get
the hell out of here.
That was a good bit.
Queued up for shit. You guys are out of your damn mind.
Nice.
He only smokes one
hard.
cigarette in the house a year, and it's to talk about PvP.
That is
This one.
That is true.
That's the only one. I could give you lung cancer in a month if I just invited you on 4 shows.
So I don't poke. I don't smoke in my house. I have kids, and I certainly don't smoke in this room with all the equipment. Right? It's always outside. So in the middle of winter, it's freezing cold when I go to have my smoke. But when you guys talk about your PvP, and I think PvP is an important part for you two to talk about as far as longevity, because that certainly plays into things too. But
see, but the good news is, this is the good news though, is that you don't have to talk about enjoying it this time. You don't have to talk about the ins and outs of it. You just have to talk about its existence.
I'm not going to talk about it at all. This is the
you
part
play
where
enough other MMOs that you should be able to talk about the existence of player versus player content.
It's in the game.
All right, EA Sports.
Seeing somebody smoke a cigarette, be like, it's in the you know what? I just got that.
I'm the new EA.
You're the EA guy after he's been doing it for way too long.
EA guy after taking a big
It's
fucking
in the
drink.
game.
It's in the game.
The EA guy after seeing the microtransactions in the latest
That
Madden.
contract better be in my email as soon as this show's over.
It's like they hired the Malboro guy to do fucking Marlboro guy to do fucking not Malboro guy. That's a different type of smoking.
Smoking Malboros.
Yeah. To be fair, if there were Final Fantasy themed cigarettes, they would be called Malboros.
Oh my god, that'd be no, they can't.
No, they can't. But Yoshi P would smoke the shit out of those.
Yeah, and I'd join them, man. I would join them. I've smoked my brand for I don't know since I was like 21. I would switch.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean PvP is pretty important for the longevity of the game. You're right. I will say.
I'm sure it is. Yeah, sure it is.
It will say it does feel like it has been completely abandoned at this point. Like, there's points where it's been like they do things and we're like, it's not working. It's just not the right solution. No, now it actually feels like they're just like, yeah, I don't care. It feels that way.
It has spurts. It has its usual spurts.
It's a very positive outlook on it. It's a very positive outlook.
It has its spurts. You know, the PvP tournaments we see when we go to FanFest or. You know, I wouldn't say it's completely ignored or looked past. I mean, the community's still there. I feel like the PvP community is still there, and
Frosty,
it's not going to go away.
Where are you? Because I feel like we need your input on that.
But yeah, like it does feel on the majority, it does feel neglected. This is one of those things where it's like they had to kind of make their own content, kind of like a bunch of other things in this game where we make our own content. We do stupid shit. That's our own content. I'm not calling PvP stupid shit.
Yeah, you are.
Burn probably is.
Yeah, I am.
Burn probably.
I'm not sure there's only tobacco in that cigarette anymore, based on the way he's talking. He's like, yeah, no, fuck it. All right.
Yeah.
When you guys think about the Garlean Empire, do you care if it falls?
Oh my god. It's weird. It's weird when somebody who does a lot of acting can just be high in a second. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels like they're ignoring it. Like Byrne is.
I actually have gotten into PvP in different games, but I still.
That's why I'm like, at the very least, you should be able to talk about. Yeah, I have.
You've seen me do PvP in some other games lately. Like over the last 6 months, I have kind of gotten okay. Not, I'm not good or anything, but okay in a couple titles that I do enjoy doing PvP. But Final Fantasy is just never going to be one of them. It's just never going to be one. And yeah, Xenos did look like he was smoking pot on that throne a couple of times, where he was just like,
"Who are you again? What did you say your name was?"
That fucking Asians just teleporting.
Oh, Zodiac and Hydron. We will have a great battle.
Has anybody seen the Warrior of Light?
The way he talks is just blazing nonstop.
Looking for anymore.
Why do you think he's always like this all the time? And he's like, "Oh, I fell asleep again," because he's just fucking high, man. He's on that Garlean Kush.
He's smoking the Gizzle Greens.
Those were only meant for chocobos, Xenos. They're not for people.
Yeah, no. So this will be my voiceover audition if you ever need to replace
that Garlean ganja. There you go. You need the alliteration.
Yeah, there you go. The Garlean grass.
Grade 3 hemp. There you go. Which, funny enough, with the diadem, if you didn't read the descriptions of the items or see all of Koji's descriptions on the items, they're fucking hilarious. They are every time for the diadem. I don't care if you care about crafting or gathering or not. You need to read all the diadem item descriptions.
Oh no, I do my crafting for my two main. Like,
but do you read the items?
Oh no, I really don't actually.
You should 150% read every diadem item description that is in the game. Literally, the grade 3 hemp. It's like they call it that good shite.
I did not see that.
It's so good.
I know what I'll be doing tonight.
Yep, just literally look up all the descriptions of the diadem items and the minion. Oh my god!
Minion descriptions are hysterical. Yeah,
I love the Ozma one. The Ozma one has the round bound of spellbound.
Yeah, the minion ones are really good. So I'll have to go look at diadem items.
Yeah, I had 100%. It's literally the funniest items in the game. Are the diadem, both the grade 2 and grade 3 items. The new ones and the old ones are all really good, but the grade 3 ones are on a mountain compared to the grade 2 ones. It's a whole different level. Ooh, that gave me a good laugh. Okay, that whole PvP bit and all that was good. That was good. Now, there's another reason why the longevity of content and the quality of content, all that, is a major topic for discussion. It isn't just COVID. It isn't just that it seems like it took an extra week for 5.31 to hit and that it looks like it might take an extra week or two for 5.35. Could you maybe surmise what other recent thing has happened that may have people questioning the content schedule and its release and the overall content that may be in it?
Maybe. I'm sorry. I just got a little distracted
Tokyo
there.
Game Show next week.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg just
Wrong,
died.
Sly.
Sorry.
Wait.
No, like legitimately she did. Sorry,
So
I got distracted there for a minute.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, I've been looking at Twitter too. I've seen it. Yeah.
Oof, okay, sorry. Yeah, I think you're talking about a new game.
That could be it.
Does it rhyme with pink teen? Not really.
Miles Morales?
That's going to be great. Topic aside.
Demon's Souls remake?
We've been lied to.
Looks
We've been
sexy.
had.
It looks sexy.
Shin Megami Tensei 5. Let's fucking go, boys.
All right, we're talking about things that exist, Sly. Can we keep it on topic at the very least?
Oh, fuck you. It has a trailer.
Yeah, so did Versus 13 when I was 16 years old.
It has a window, too.
So did
Oh, God.
My point still stands. So, the PlayStation 5 showcase happened the other day. And there were rumors beforehand that a certain title would appear, and I didn't believe those rumors because I hate believing them. And I just refuse to believe until I see something in front of me. I just refuse to believe it exists.
I was pretty sure, particularly when the tweet went out and then was deleted.
I didn't see that. So that would have been fairly convincing to me. Yeah.
The same for me. I just saw rumors and I'm like, really? But then again, leaks this year have kind of been on point. Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part. So the very first trailer they showed was take the V and the I in 14 and swap them around, and you've got a million typos waiting to happen for the next 2 years.
Oh, I mean, just try Google searching FFXIV right now. It constantly Google corrects to 14.
Even though, Roman numerals existed before that, it doesn't seem to be able to get that through its algorithms to some point.
Not now.
Not yet.
Not now.
Now, the announcement of a 16 was a surprise, regardless of whether or not you heard the rumors beforehand, because even the rumors were a surprise to a lot of people. But there's been rumors way before that happened about the man who would be overseeing it to some degree. And that man denied his involvement, and that you shouldn't believe any baseless rumors that you hear on the internet. He said, "Please do not believe any news sites that are proposing baseless rumors."
Right, but the question was very specific and asked him about being director, which his answer was slippery as all shit.
Yeah,
but the question was specific, and so he wasn't. It's one of those like PR things. He wasn't lying. He said that's a rumor, and don't believe rumors that I'm directing it because I'm the producer.
There are no knowns. There are no knowns and known unknowns.
There are also unknown unknowns. Things that we don't know that we don't know.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
What?
Sure, why not?
That's a quote from Boondocks, Mr. Byrne, if you've never seen it, and it is excellent.
It's been too long.
Said by Samuel L. Jackson himself. Of course, because he has to say, anyone that asks him what, he has to be there. All right.
I did like in the press release, and I don't know how many actually saw the press release.
The PlayStation blog?
Yeah, well, it ended up on the PlayStation blog later, but we got it a few hours, about an hour before that. And I did like how Yoshi P was like, Yoshi P, producer here, and then in parentheses, just producer. Ha ha ha. I was like, all right, you're funny.
You're funny guy. Now, he is the producer, which is not the same as a director, as he has made sure to point out a couple of times already, which means his responsibilities on the title are not as necessarily involved as other members of the team. Still involved, but not to the same degree as a director would be.
And I'm glad he is.
The director was one that surprised me a lot, because the director is a previous member of the 14 team, Hiroshi Takai, as many may remember, as the guy who was forced to grind Atmas on the stream for 10 hours straight, and also Blue Mage spells for several hours as well. Yeah. He is probably the guy who is thrown into the most ridiculous-looking situations in any of their previous broadcasts, and he is also someone who worked on Final Fantasy V, Last Remnant, and the Saga series, as well as Final Fantasy XI before 14.
He directed Heaven's Word.
He directed, yes, he did.
He directed. He was in this role for Heaven's Word.
Yep. And now he is directing a completely separate title. There's also rumors about some other members of the staff. We know that they acquired one of the DMC5 lead combat devs, as well as the Dragon's Dogma dev. I think
that was a while ago.
That was a while ago.
When we didn't know what for.
I don't think he's officially been confirmed to be on this title, but it's almost certain that he is. And there's also rumors about who the storyboarders are. But people are fearing now that
I think you're going to see some tactics people on this team.
Yes.
Some Final Fantasy tactics people will end up getting confirmed for this. I think you're going to end up having Soken confirmed as the composer.
I'd be very surprised after hearing that trailer if he is not the man in charge of it.
Yeah. And Soken retweeted that the reveal.
Yeah.
And you might just say, okay, well, he works for Square Enix and stuff, but he didn't do anything during FF7 remake lead up and launch. So
because it was a different dev team, but this is the same. Yeah,
exactly. So, This is still Creative 3, the team behind Final Fantasy 14. So.
And that's the point that has people afraid. The biggest reason in the past few days that content longevity and the content of Final Fantasy XIV has come into question has been the announcement of 16 and the fear that it's in its existence in Creative Division 3 will detract from Final Fantasy 14. Now,
do you guys buy that?
No.
No.
Because that's literally not how that works. But that doesn't stop people from talking about it. And almost any time in the next 2 years that people are not happy with something's not the way they want it to be, the state of the game is not such a one they are content with, this will be the next several years of our lives.
Well, so I think the main concern probably isn't the team. Because I'm sure Square was, intelligent about this, right? You don't cut off the head of the horse that is currently bringing in the most money to potentially maybe put out a title that's going to bring in a good bit of money. I think the concern is probably more, and I'm not saying it's a valid concern. I don't know, how much stock I put into it, but if you view Yoshi P as the driving force of 14 and content, and maybe that's a bit short-sighted of a view for somebody to have, and shortchanges the other members of the team that are doing a lot of the work itself, and Yoshi P is providing the direction. But if you think that Yoshi P is like the be-all, end-all in Final Fantasy 14, I could maybe see you saying, well, of course it's going to take time away from him. Because if he has X number of hours to be working on 14 as the producer and director, he can't be expected to do X plus Y hours. It would probably be X minus Y hours now on Final Fantasy to go do Y on 16. So I can maybe see that point. But to buy that point, I also think you have to believe that Yoshi P is such a dominant driving force behind almost everything going on in 14 that having hours away from that force would make the development or the game suffer. And while I would have agreed with you that he probably was back in 2.0, maybe even up to parts of 3.3, I don't think he's that dominant driving force in there right now. I don't think this is, but I could definitely see somebody being concerned about that aspect of it, even if they probably acknowledge, well, yeah, they probably just hired more people onto Creative 3. And
it's a pretty reasonable thing to think.
14. Yeah. Right. I think more the concern would be maybe somebody thinking that Yoshi P is so important on both of these projects that he can't possibly dedicate the amount of time he used to 14 because now he's doing 14 and 16. I don't buy into that a little bit. I think he's taken a couple steps back over the last few years. Not to say he's not involved heavily, but I think he's taken, his hands off the steering wheel as himself and has more people on the steering wheel now on 14 that I think it's going to be okay. But I can at least see where the argument might come.
Well, I mean, this kind of just happens. So I've been experiencing this for years with Square Enix, and anything they do in one place, immediately people look for a different place to detract that from. Yeah. So, what's another example? World of Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy 15 came out like 3 weeks apart, which was not the smartest decision. And there were people who blamed World of Final Fantasy for taking away resources they could have used towards the end of 15's development, and then vice versa, even though they had nothing to do with one another. And that's not how development teams work. Some people also looked at a 14 lull at the time and blamed 15 for it because it was trying to save that game that was, in development hell for 7 years before it started. Now, because it's all in the same development unit, people find that their view on that is more founded. That people on the 14 development team, especially because Takai is the director who was on the 14 team before Stormblood or during Stormblood and left during Stormblood, almost certainly to do this role. Yeah, they're assuming other people on that 14 dev team are just going to be shipped off and sent to work on things that aren't 14 without having a plan for 14 itself.
And here's my counter to that. If there were people on Creative 3 that were going to be shipped off, they've already been shipped off.
They were, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like we do not know how far along in development this game is or has been. So it's really.
I think it's safe though to say that it has been in a decent development cycle since prior to Stormblood.
I think around Stormblood's launches, I think actually around the halfway point of Stormblood is probably where it really started I think actually going into development past
because we really didn't get these inclinations until we saw what the Agni thing.
Dude, Agni's philosophy still makes me want. I mean, I'm still hoping she's in a Project Acathia or whatever it's called, the Luminous game.
God, what was it? It was there was another engine video that was like
where it's just her crying. Yeah, it was
no, not that one. There was another one with like two females fighting. It was like kind of like vampires.
Oh no, yeah, and they're like cybernetic war. Like they start. Yeah,
I want to see that shit. Yeah. I would love to see that shit. But yeah, we don't know how long this has been in development. But it's like I agree. It's safe to say it's been in development for a while. And again, to anyone
I tend to agree with most of chat between the 2 and 3 year mark, probably.
Yeah,
I feel like the main reason because Creative Division 3 was made in April of last year, wasn't it? 2019 specifically, I think it was. I don't think it was this year. I think it was April of 2019. But you'd have to assume that shifted in development divisions was done to accommodate 16's development at the very least to some degree. You'd assume.
And
I would almost be more inclined to say, if you think there was going to be a team impact to 14, you're seeing it now.
And that's what people are assuming.
In what we've been talking about.
Yes.
Not that it's going to go less from here.
But that's people don't want that to happen at all. And listen, it's not uncommon for members to get shifted around in teams in a company. But let's not act like it means 14 becomes less of something because they're also working on 16.
Right.
Yeah, but that's what people are afraid of. Less 14 because they're working on 16. That's the one-to-one that people are making.
And even still, y'all gonna play both of them anyway, so shut the fuck up. Like, why are we even having this fucking conversation?
I'm just saying it's on the topic of
collector's edition.
It's on the topic. Listen, don't call me out like that. Just it's on the topic of content longevity because people are worried. Some people are worried. I am not. I'm bringing you. I read the internet.
I'm not either. I look at it as if the worst that can happen is the content drought-ish thing that we've been experiencing lately, which is exacerbated by COVID. Yeah, I'm gonna. I'll be just fine.
No.
I'll be just fine.
Oh no, we don't have content in 14. What am I gonna play? Oh well, 16 came out. Okay.
Well, so listen, it's not out yet. You better relax. We've probably still got a couple more years on that at least.
Yeah, I mean, the next time we're gonna hear something at all is next year.
Once we hit that point, it's just gonna be that.
I'm willing to bet that Yoshi P actually takes the first 15-20 minutes of the next live letter to talk about this exact topic of his involvement in both.
I'm expecting it.
I'm expecting it at TGS, which there's no live letter, but I would be almost surprised if with his casual conversation with Yoko Taro.
Funny thing, I haven't seen anything in regards to TGS for Square.
I have. There's schedules online.
Okay.
It's available.
Yeah, it's available.
Okay.
Because I think he's going to notice that a lot because it's less about whether or not there'll be less in 14, but it's more about that they'll just keep riding the comfort train that we're talking about because now they have 16, so now it's like it's really out the window. And I'm just I don't know. I don't think it would have changed regardless of 16's existence or not. I don't think that's the determining factor. I think they do what they've done and they run by data of involvement in things.
And he's PR savvy enough. He's proven that over the years that he's not going to let this sit here when it's something easily quelled. I mean, hell, just look at his. I don't like rumors.
I'm not a director. Stop saying that. It's not true. I'm a producer.
You know, he's PR savvy enough. It's a fire that he could easily put out, and I have faith that he will.
I guess I might as well ask. We'll be talking about this tomorrow again. Not you, Byrne, but Sly and I
appreciate the invite, but I'll be playing Final Fantasy TCG, which if you guys have not played, you need to. But I'll be playing in a tournament tomorrow.
Best of luck.
I will watch the VOD though, of course.
Yeah. We'll be talking about it. So I'll since you won't be here tomorrow, I'll get your quick take on it. 16 first impressions.
Nervous, actually.
Why?
I like Devil May Cry. I like Final Fantasy. I don't know if I'm gonna like Final May Cry.
Devil May Fantasy.
Final May Cry Dog.
I like, yeah. I'm not saying that. Oh my god, the trailer first off looked phenomenal. I loved it. Were there a couple texture issues here and there? Yes, not as bad as I think some people started making it out to be. Whatever.
There was a really crooked tree at one point. That's what I remember.
Yeah. Will I buy it? Of course. Will I play it? Of course. Yes. All those things are going to happen. But I don't know if I'm going to like that. Like, okay, I'm okay with them not being turn-based anymore. I really would like a turn-based Final Fantasy still.
Good thing Bravely Default 2's due out later this year, most likely.
My son and I were talking about this.
I can talk you over to Shin Megami Tensei if you want.
Well,
I mean,
so here's the thing.
Games that exist, Sly.
Exactly. My son and I were talking about this, and I said, well, you got to look at it from Square Enix's point of view. They probably go, look, Final Fantasy is a series that evolves with the trends and the time. But if you want turn-based, we've got Bravely Default. We've got Bravely Default 2. We've got Dragon Quest that is still very much filling that. You know, we have that. Or you could go play Persona 5 and all of these things. I would still like a core Final Fantasy number to be turn-based. I am also willing to say that probably isn't going to happen anymore.
Bro, we can't even get Tactics on Steam. Your dreams are dead. All right?
Yeah. So Octopath Traveler. Yeah. So they probably look at it like, if you want turn-based, we have turn-based. You know, we got that audience. Fine. The thing is, I don't know if I'm going to like the mix. One, we don't know if it's party-based at all, let alone it doesn't look to be. There is a brief moment where you have an NPC that doesn't seem to do any combat in the trailer, but does seem to be focused on the monster you're fighting. So maybe a Final Fantasy 15-ish type thing with, you know, useless AI, in which case just throw them out and make it a single player. So I don't know. Like, it seems like it's going to be a pretty big change for me, and I always worry about those types of changes. I get you're trying to, hey, we could attract the 15 audience and the Devil May Cry, Onimushas, you know, those types of combat, maybe juggling-based, combo-based games. We could attract both of those audience. The only thing that I worry about when you do that is, with very few exceptions of mega hits, you end up not really pleasing either of the two audiences. And you end up with a mediocre mashup,
just say 15.
For lack of a better term. So I do have concerns. But it's one trailer. It's 2 minutes of my entire Final Fantasy life experience, which has been a series of many more ups than downs. So I am optimistic. I will be buying it. I will be playing it. There are aspects of that trailer I love. Like, do you think we're going to get an M rating on this?
No.
That I don't personally, there are people that do, but I don't think we're going to quite get to the M rating. Although there are darker moments in the trailer I love the return to a more high fantasy looking environment. I do like that the crystals are there, that they're powering these city states a la, what was it, Type 0 type mentality. So there's a lot of stuff that I just loved about the trailer. I watched it with just like a 16-year-old giddy smile.
16, I get it.
Yeah. Giddy smile. I can't wait, but I'm cautiously optimistic because I want to see some more about like the party, the combat and stuff like that. And I don't know how I'm gonna like it when we get to juggling combo-based Devil May Cry combat in my Final Fantasy sauce. But I'm willing to taste it to see if it tastes good. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay. Thank you. I'll save my opinion for tomorrow because we have a lot to talk about with 16 tomorrow. I'm just, I hope everyone here got their PS5
so
pre-orders.
Much in that trailer, too. It's only a couple of minutes, but you could spend an hour talking about just freeze framing everything, like the Phoenix wings and shit. I was like, oh, God.
Funny thing, he actually did.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw your video. Yeah, but it wasn't an hour. You'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah. Trust me, I've had more time to watch it since then. So
I've watched it many times.
Yeah, I've watched it many times. But on that, I think we've hit most of the points we need to, unless you want to talk about the yokai.
When do you think it comes out?
2022. Quarter 2, 2022.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
And I think it's a little further along in development than most people probably think by the time we get the first big reveal of a Final Fantasy title. But I don't think it's so far in development that we'll see it in 2021. I tend to agree.
I would hope not.
I think they're going to save it. I think they're going to have 6.0 for the fiscal year of 2021 to 2022 and up until March, and they'll stick this in the fiscal year for 2022 in like May.
I think that's fair. Yeah. I do like that it seems like they walked into Creative 3 and they were like, who needs more work? Oh, the voice actors. Come on over. Come here. We're going to have you play some new character. You're Grahatia. That's awesome. Fantastic. Love your work. Come on over. Stand at this mic, and we're going to need you to read these lines.
Well, it was probably more like get on a Zoom call and tell them, get into your personal studio and email this to us by tomorrow.
For the next expansion? You're cute, buddy. You're a Scion now. Yeah. No, this is for Final Fantasy 16. Please, just shut up and read the lines. And then we had Yish in there, too.
Yeah, the
Y'shtola voice actress. So, I mean, it literally is, they were just like, who's not doing anything right now? Because we need to get some stuff done real quick. Great, come on with me. So,
I also know how...
And I'm glad Grahatia is a Scion, but no.
I also Creative Division, Business Division 3 is known for quite a lot of red herrings in their trailers. So
absolutely.
There's going to be a lot to unpack and potentially be wrong about. So I'm excited. I got 2 PS5s on pre-order and ready to go. I
got mine yesterday. I didn't get it in the Wave 1 cluster that happened because I was in the middle of streaming on my new stuff.
I always do 2 because I don't trust that one of them is going to cancel on me. I do 1 for pickup, 1 delivery, and I cancel the 1 for delivery if I'm confident in the 1 in pickup. Or I give it to somebody who didn't get a pre-order.
So were your pre-orders, you had to pay in advance or pay when you're done?
Pay in advance. I paid. My money's out of my account already.
Oh, yeah, mine too. Yeah, I was.
So, Target and Best Buy were my winners for this one. No Walmart.
I got Walmart.
Yeah, a lot of people. I'm afraid of Walmart canceling. I'm afraid of Target canceling, to be fair. But Best Buy I'm not afraid of. I've had good experiences with them. So, I'm holding on to hope. And I've got the actual Devil May Cry the day it comes out, so I can hold myself over for.
I'll be doing Godfall. I'll be doing Godfall.
That's good. Yeah, that's another good. I'll be doing that too. That's gonna be a busy day.
Demon Souls
is also fucking Christ. I get to sleep November 12th. Just from that point on, I don't get to sleep. And you know what? There's probably a live letter like the next weekend or some shit based on like when the 5.4 projections are out too. So I'm really fucked.
You got to feel for Blizzard, man. World of Warcraft expansion comes
I don't
out
care.
2 weeks later as the console drops. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Well, they should have made it for PS5. Maybe they wouldn't have to worry about that then. Maybe they will. Who knows? They're having controller support officially after all these years. Maybe it's going to come out on PS5.
We'll see.
We shall. Mm-hmm. We shall indeed. But with that, unless you want to talk about the yokai event in terms of longevity, then I think we're good.
Well, I think that is a good
It only took me 7.5 hours to finish it from where I was. I'm good. All 17, 14 of the 17 minions. And
I got all the minions. That was it.
I'm sorry, the weapons.
Although I got all the minions the first time, so the second time it came out, I didn't need to do anything, and then this time I needed, 3 or 4? I think
4, yeah.
4.
Took me 7 hours to do the 4 new minions and 14 weapons.
20 minutes, I was done. And then I was like, okay, I still have 3 weapons from the first time. How many of those? 17 now? Yeah, I don't care about those mounts.
7 hours.
That's fine.
Only took me
20 minutes, got my 4 mounts, I was done.
7 hours. Just do it.
No. Get the hell out of here. Pay $15 to
give you a choice, do that or PvP.
Yokai watch it is, bitches. Looks like I'm going to be getting Whisper a Go-Go.
Where's option C? Cigarettes.
Yeah.
Okay. On that note, I think we're ready to wrap things up. Just do a quick end of the show sponsor read, and then we can sign off. Sound good, gentlemen?
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in for this welcome back for State of the Realm. I'll let you know Sly's been hard at work coming up with some show topics. Of course, when Bajra comes out, we will have a Bajra show. We still have an Erzivia to do, which we agreed to wait on until we actually had Bajra and some of the remaining lore. Obviously, we have the Tales from the Shadows that are going to be included in that as well. So we do have some plans. Don't forget, SteelSeries is a sponsor. Free giveaway under every YouTube video. Be sure to go enter that. And thank you to them for sponsoring and for the 12% discount code. Which you can get the most recently released Arctis 9. That's the new one. That's the new hotness. It's got 2 audio channels, one Bluetooth, one wired. So you could have like it plugged into your PS4 for game audio and then Bluetooth to like your phone or something for Discord or something like that. You do it at the same time. There you go. You're muted when you're saying that, or you're not saying anything, and you're just lipping it, and I can't tell, Mr. Byrne.
Yeah, I was just lipping it.
Okay,
I said it's spicy.
Spicy. And of course, we have our patrons. I'll do my best to make sure those names are updated. I have been looking at it, and I can tell for certain some of those names are not updated because there's ones that are not on there. But it has been a few weeks, so please forgive me. And thank you to them, and thank you to our patrons of Darkness, Khuja, Jenova, and Kurenai Oni, who have gone above and beyond with their support over on Patreon. Even though we haven't done a show in a few weeks, it's good to still see plenty of names that, not even full complete names, scrolling up and down that list on this. God damn it, Alice. I should have known. FS isn't even here and there's still Pogs. Too many Pogs. Too many Pog champs. I don't even have Pog enabled on my stream. Come on now. Come on. Stop. There they are. Okay. How Sly became a Twitch grilling master. Where'd that come from? I know he is, but that was a good stream, Sly. Just going back to, I think the last show we had was right before that. It was right before the grilling. Yeah, so right before with the shirt and everything. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. I'll be sure to contact the winner of last month's SteelSeries giveaway, and there will be a new one under the YouTube video tomorrow. So with that, thanks for doing the show today, guys. Thanks for doing the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Byrne.
Yes.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Tell everyone where they can find you at, Magic Man.
What's that?
Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you at, Magic Man?
Oh, a little surprise. I like the way you work this shit in here. So yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Twitter at MagicMan1. He's got that on the screen there. MMOBomb.com. I'm still there, editor-in-chief, doing all the free-to-play news, including the free-to-play cast every week. We stream Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/MMOBomb. But if you would be so kind, and it's very generous of you to allow me to say this, Happy, and I was very careful. I was like, look, it's okay with you. You know, I'm not asking to, but he said I could do
Just shout your shit out.
Thank you. I am starting a new channel with the help of many people. It is volunteer-based. We are doing a ton of different streamers as far as content. More importantly, we'll be doing 3 shows at launch. We will have a Blizzard show. We will have a Square Enix show, and we will have a general gaming show. Each one will run once a week. And if you liked some of the older content on channels like Game Breaker that Happy and I were on in the past, then you will love this channel, and I hope you will love this channel, and I hope you will join us. You won't be bombarded with news feeds or anything like that. Shows and streamers. Keeping it simple. Come and support. It's called Ready Check Radio, and that's spelled RAIDEO. And if I may do this, I don't know if it'll let me do that.
Oh, just let me know in the here. I got you. I'll just.
Oh shit! I'm signed in as MMO Bomb on there.
Yeah, because you actually, I think you have permits on the other one. So
yeah, on my other account.
There you go.
So, thank you. I appreciate that. If you would be so kind to give us a follow, check it out. We soft launched a couple of weeks ago with just some streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evening. We were hosting this show. We will go over and stream after this show there. The shows themselves, the podcast will start in about 2 weeks. The assets are just about finished for everything. And Happy and Sly have graciously agreed to appear as guest hosts on the Square Enix / Final Fantasy show occasionally. Just the same courtesy they've extended me here. So if you could give it a follow, maybe come and hang out, I would very much appreciate that. We won't be asking you for a dime. Just come and have some fun with us. Thank you, Haps.
No problem. It's good to have you. What was I going to say? Well, I even said to you before you even brought it up, I was like, yeah, then you can shout your new shit out.
And I wasn't going to bring it up because I'm like not an audience tap type person.
But I'm like, bringing you on the show and you're doing this for free.
And you were like, hey, want to do the show? And you can plug your new thing. And I was like, as long as you're okay with it, I don't care. But I never would have asked. So
you call me daddy and you think I'm not going to look out for you? Come on.
Hap daddy. Hap daddy.
What's the point of being called daddy if I don't get to act like one once in a while?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
There
And
you
Sly, it is always a pleasure to be here with you, my friend.
Always a pleasure to do a show with you, my friend.
Very much, very much.
And Sly, what have you been up to, and what are you going to be up to, sir? Because you've been quite busy.
Oh, hi. I'm Sly. I play too many fucking games. I recently finished the main story of Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning. It was fun. Played Dragon's Dogma for the first time. That was fun. Playing Star Renegades right now, and that's hella fun. RPG roguelike. Just give it a shot. Just really give it a shot. Next week, I am playing 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim.
That's the new Odin Sphere game, right? That's from the same company as Odin Sphere?
The new Vanillaware? Yeah. Been looking forward to that for a while. But yeah, you can find me at twitch.tv/Sly, aka Gray Fox, on Twitter at Sly the Fox. I've just been doing too much as usual.
I need a Sly shirt that's him sitting in front of a TV on a couch with like games piled up like to his neck, just he's playing too many fucking games.
Pretty much.
Be perfect.
And Mike, what are you doing with yourself?
I don't even know, man. I've just so many fucking extreme trials, man. So many fucking SOS extremes. I'm Mr. Happy. I've been doing a lot of 14 and Avengers as of late. Now I got to update it because I think 1.3 is out today. I got to get into some Dauntless because I know the most recent update came out for that yesterday.
Big same. Oh my god.
Terra escalation. That's another big thing. And then I'm just looking towards the future at this point because Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition tickled me in all the fancy places. I'm feeling real motivated right now after seeing that. Demon Souls. Stop doing the head shake. Demon Souls and the lack of load times on Fog Doors was a big thing. Balan Wonderworld got a release date for March 26th, the same day as Monster Hunter Rise, unfortunately. Monster Hunter Stories 2. There's a lot of things in the last week. It's been a good week for announcements. And it's
tomorrow's going to be a hell of a conversation.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to talk about tomorrow because we're doing another Talk About Games. It's an extra podcast we do occasionally. We normally do it to slot in on weeks we don't do State of the Realm, but this week felt like we shouldn't wait a week to talk about everything that's happened in the last week. So
a little bit.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing that at noon Pacific. By the time you see this on YouTube, if you're watching this, it's probably around the time the show is going to be starting. Noon Pacific on Saturday, September 19th. Ethos is going to be joining us, and while we are going to have a huge focus on 16, because Ethos has declared that he wants to be the lore guy for that game as well.
I saw the tweet, and I applauded. I mean, I was the only one in my room, but I mean, it only takes one person to applaud. I believe multiple people would be applause. Correct.
There you go.
Be correct.
See, there we go. I was guessing
because I don't have
a dictionary.
Clapping.
Yeah, it's called masturbation. Anyway, he's figuring it out.
Not how I do it, but maybe I'll give it a whirl.
Stop doing that. Anyway, stop it. He was like, wait, I'm not left-handed.
I mean, you got to get the stranger prepped. So
yeah, there you go. That's when you sit on your hand. Anyway, regardless, different topic altogether. We're going to be talk about games.
I feel like I need a cigarette.
That'll be on YouTube the day after as well. So I have a couple of podcasts coming. And if there's any spicy news to come up with 16 or anything related, we'll probably be doing bonus ones. I'm even thinking about doing another count up once we have something closer to a release date in 2 fucking years or however long it ends up taking. So replaying through everything again. But I'm feeling the Final Fantasy vibe, guys. So I'm going to go relax because my energy just spiked and I think I'm spent for the rest of the night. So we're going to wrap things up. We're going to go into a short post show while he smokes the rest of his cigarette. And we'll be back next week. I promise. One way or the other.
We have shows planned. We have shows planned.
So thank you again, Byrne. Thank you, Sly, as per always. And we will see you next week. Until then, take care.
See you next week. or soon.